The galaxy had always feared the dragon. Not just any dragon but the deadliest creature anyone had ever seen. Its scales shimmered like molten metal, its eyes glowed like twin suns, and its roar could shake a starship apart. Entire fleets had been destroyed by it, worlds had trembled under its shadow, and alien commanders whispered its name in fear. The dragon was called the Ender of Wars, and no one alive had dared to touch it, or even come close, until today. At the edge of the station's docking bay, thousands of aliens had gathered to watch. They were diplomats, scientists, and soldiers from dozens of worlds, all coming to witness the transfer of the creature to a high-security planet. Their conversations were loud, filled with fear and excitement, but also with a kind of cruel anticipation. Many laughed quietly at the humans present, especially the small boy standing near the crowd, his brown hair falling into his eyes. He was not supposed to be here. Humans were weak, they said. Humans were small. And yet, here he was, staring at a dragon that could crush a starship like a toy. The boy's name was Eli. He had come with a group of workers and refugees, but he had slipped away, fascinated by the dragon rather than frightened. Unlike the aliens, he did not see a monster. He saw something sad, something lonely, hidden beneath the scales and fire. The dragon had been made to fight, but it had no friends. It had no one to care for it. The dragon moved slowly, its massive claws scraping against the metal floor of the station. Every step made the air tremble. Some of the aliens screamed or staggered backward. Some fainted from fear. Scientists checked their instruments, their faces pale. Containment field holding at 97%, one whispered. But its energy is unstable. Eli did not move back. He took a small step forward, clutching the little wooden figure he had carried from Earth. It was a toy dragon, carved by his grandfather, and he held it tightly, thinking maybe it could show the big dragon he was a friend. The aliens noticed him and laughed, but the laughter sounded hollow. Even the bravest among them could not look away from the creature's enormous wings, sharp horns and glowing eyes. Suddenly the dragon shifted its head. Its gaze swept the crowd, and for the first time, its eyes landed on the small human boy. Eli froze. He could feel the heat from its body, smell the strange metallic scent that came off its scales, and yet he did not run. The dragon growled low in its throat, a sound that made the ground shake. Aliens shouted, pointing, warning him to move. But Eli stayed calm. In that moment something changed. The dragon's posture softened just a little. Its eyes, bright and dangerous, seemed to search for something. Eli took another step closer, his heart beating fast but without fear. He whispered softly, words the aliens could not understand. Words meant for no one but the dragon. Some of the soldiers raised their weapons. Some of the scientists pressed buttons, ready to fire containment beams if the dragon attacked. But it did not. Instead, it lowered its massive head slightly, tilting it as if to listen. Eli reached up, holding the wooden toy in front of him like a peace offering. "It's okay," he said, his voice small but steady. "You don't have to be alone." A hush fell over the station. Thousands of aliens froze in shock. They could not believe what they were seeing. A human child, the smallest being in the room, dared to approach the most dangerous creature in the galaxy. And the dragon, instead of striking, remained still. Its eyes flicked between the toy and the boy's face, and for the first time, something other than fear or rage shone there. Something like understanding. Eli reached out his hand. His fingers trembled slightly, but he did not stop. The dragon sniffed him with its enormous snout, smoke curling from its nostrils. A low rumble came from deep in its chest, not a growl of anger but a sound almost like curiosity. The boy smiled. "You're not so scary," he whispered. The aliens could not move. They were frozen by disbelief, some shaking their heads in denial. The dragon had never been approached without weapons drawn, and yet here was a human child, unarmed and unafraid, standing mere steps from its face. Even the commanders, the ones who had sent fleets to battle it, could not look away. Slowly the dragon lowered its head even more. Its massive eyes studied the boy, and then it did something no one expected. It allowed him to touch its snout. The touch was gentle, almost reverent. Eli's small hand pressed against the dragon's warm scales, and the dragon closed its eyes, leaning into the human's tiny gesture. Whispers ran through the crowd. "Impossible." "How?" "It's listening to him?" The alien leaders did not understand, but they knew one thing. This child had done what no adult, no warrior, no scientist could ever do. He had reached the heart of the dragon. Eli smiled, and for a moment, the chaos of the station faded away. The dragon, the deadliest being in the galaxy, did not attack. It did not roar. It did not breathe fire. It simply looked at the boy as if it had been waiting all this time for someone like him to appear. And for the first time in its life, the dragon felt safe. The station was silent, but not for long. The aliens were still frozen in shock, their eyes wide as they watched the smallest human in the galaxy approach the largest and deadliest creature. Many of them had fought in wars, commanded fleets, and faced creatures that could destroy planets, yet they had never seen anything like this. Fear mixed with confusion ran through them. How could a human child stand so close to the deadliest dragon and not be terrified? Eli kept his hand gently on the dragon's snout. He felt the heat from its scales, the faint vibration of its low rumble, and the small bursts of smoke from its nostrils. He whispered softly, words only he and the dragon could understand. The alien scientists, watching from a safe distance, could see their instruments fluctuating wildly. The dragon's energy readings were calming, not escalating. It was as if the presence of the human boy had made the creature peaceful. Some aliens still screamed and pointed. "Move him back. He's going to die," shouted one commander, a tall blue-skinned alien with multiple eyes. Soldiers raised their weapons, fingers trembling on triggers, ready to fire containment beams or stun rays. But nothing happened. The dragon did not strike. It simply tilted its massive head, watching the boy. Eli stepped a little closer, holding the wooden dragon toy higher. "See? You're safe," he said softly. He did not shout, he did not demand, he did not even move quickly. Every gesture was small, calm, deliberate. The dragon's massive eyes followed him, its tail swishing slowly behind it, sending sparks from the metal floor. The aliens could not understand this. To them, control was power. Weapons were power. Fear was power. But here the boy had no power, except his heart, and somehow that was enough. The dragon sniffed the boy's hand again and lowered its head to the floor, so massive that its horns scraped the metal ceiling slightly. A few of the aliens whispered among themselves. It's listening," one said. "It's calming?" Another alien shook his head. No creature that size, that dangerous, could ever calm down. Something must be wrong with the human. Eli smiled faintly. He could hear the dragon's rumble like a soft drumbeat. It was not threatening. It was steady. It was almost like it wanted to communicate. The boy reached out his other hand, and the dragon nudged it gently with its massive snout. For a moment, the entire station seemed to hold its breath. "Step back," shouted another alien, more forceful this time. "You're risking everything." But Eli did not step back. Instead, he knelt slightly, putting himself on the dragon's level. "I'm not afraid of you," he whispered. "You don't have to fight anyone." The dragon blinked. It had never seen such bravery, such calm in someone so small. Its energy, which had been unstable, dangerous, and frightening, was settling. Sensors in the station began to show readings that no one thought possible. The dragon's aura, which could destroy fleets, was softening. Its roar had disappeared, replaced with a gentle, vibrating hum. Aliens around the docking bay began to murmur nervously. Some lowered their weapons, afraid to interfere. Others argued quietly among themselves. "How can a human do this?" one asked. "They are weak. They are small. They are supposed to be powerless." But the evidence was in front of them. A child had calmed the galaxy's deadliest weapon with nothing more than a touch, a whisper, and courage. The dragon shifted slightly, moving its massive head closer to the boy. Sparks flew from the metal floor, and the air shimmered from the heat radiating off its scales. Eli's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. He reached up and placed both hands on the dragon's face, feeling its rough scales, its warmth, and its strength. He whispered again softly, "It's okay. You're not alone." A strange silence fell over the aliens. Some covered their mouths, unsure what to do. Others could not look away. The boy had done what no army, no fleet, no weapon could ever do. He had reached the heart of the dragon. And the dragon had responded. Suddenly, the dragon lowered its body fully to the floor, resting its massive chest on the metal. It closed its eyes briefly, leaning into Eli's hands. Aliens gasped. They had never seen such submission from a creature designed to kill without thought. Eli smiled, feeling a wave of connection he had never known before. The dragon was alive, yes, but it was more than a weapon. It had feelings, needs, and fear just like every living creature. Humans understood fear. Humans understood hope. And humans, sometimes, could reach things that even the most powerful aliens could not. The station's security officers, still trembling, watched the scene unfold. They realized the danger had passed. Not because they controlled it, not because they fired beams or made commands, but because the human child had touched the heart of a being they had feared for centuries. The aliens whispered to one another. This changes everything. No one has ever done that. The human, the child, he is different. Eli held the dragon's snout for a moment longer, feeling the steady warmth, the quiet strength beneath the scales. Then he stood, letting go slowly. The dragon lifted its massive head and blinked slowly, watching him carefully. It did not roar. It did not attack. It simply looked, as if understanding that humans, small and fragile as they seemed, could be friends, not enemies. For the first time in the dragon's long and dangerous life, the aliens realized that fear was not the only way to survive. Some things could not be controlled by weapons or armies. Some things responded only to courage, kindness, and heart. And in that moment, the galaxy began to see humans in a way they had never seen before. The station was still trembling from the shock of what had just happened. Aliens whispered and stared, unable to comprehend what they had seen. The smallest human child had calmed the deadliest dragon in the galaxy with nothing but a gentle touch and kind words. Even the most experienced commanders shook their heads in disbelief. Yet for Eli there was no time to marvel. He felt that the dragon still needed him, and he was ready to take the next step. The dragon shifted slightly, its massive body stretching across the metal floor. Its wings flexed, causing sparks to fly from the station's plating. Many of the aliens panicked, expecting the creature to lash out suddenly. Soldiers gripped their weapons tighter, eyes wide with fear. But Eli did not move back. He stepped closer, small feet careful not to make sudden movements. He held his wooden toy dragon in front of him, raising it so the large dragon could see it clearly. "See? We are alike," he whispered softly. "You don't have to hurt anyone. You can trust me." The dragon's glowing eyes focused on the toy, then flicked back to Eli's face. Its head lowered again, even closer this time, so massive that it nearly touched the floor. The aliens could not believe what they were seeing. The boy was kneeling in front of a creature that could crush him with a single claw, yet he showed no fear. Not one tremor, not one backward step. Some alien scientists shook their heads, muttering, "No human could survive this." But Eli's calm, steady presence seemed to radiate through the chamber. The dragon's rumble, once terrifying, now sounded almost gentle, like a giant purr. Eli extended his hand, fingers trembling slightly, and touched the dragon's massive snout. The scales were rough and warm, and beneath them he could feel a powerful heartbeat. He whispered again softly, "It's okay. I'm here. I won't hurt you." The dragon blinked, smoke curling gently from its nostrils. Its body relaxed, muscles letting go of tension that had been held for decades. For the first time, the aliens could see something they had never imagined. The dragon was listening. It was not just hearing words, it was understanding them. The child had reached into its mind, into the part of it that was not weapon or monster, but living being. The dragon tilted its head, and its enormous eyes followed Eli's hand as he moved across its snout, tracing the patterns of the scales with delicate fingers. Some of the soldiers lowered their weapons, astonished. Others covered their mouths, too afraid to speak. Whispers spread through the crowd. It's not attacking. How is this possible? The human, he is not afraid." They had always believed that control and fear were the only language a creature like this would understand. But here was a child, teaching a lesson with kindness alone. Eli knelt closer, placing both hands gently on the dragon's face. "You don't have to fight," he said again. "No one will hurt you. You're not alone anymore." The dragon closed its massive eyes briefly and exhaled a puff of smoke that smelled faintly metallic. Its tail swished slowly but not violently, sending small sparks along the floor. The child felt the dragon's warmth, its quiet power, and for a moment he realized that he was not just comforting the dragon was also calming him. A few alien scientists leaned forward, unable to resist looking closer. They had studied dragons for decades, read every report, analyzed every attack. But nothing in their data could explain this. A human child, so small and seemingly powerless, was controlling the deadliest dragon, not with force but with patience and care. They whispered among themselves, It's empathy. The human, it's his empathy that does this." Eli's heart pounded, but he did not let fear show. He knew that the dragon's life, and perhaps the lives of everyone in the station, depended on the next few moments. Slowly, he leaned in and pressed his forehead lightly against the dragon's snout, a gesture he had learned from his grandfather. It was a simple human gesture, but one that conveyed trust, connection, and understanding. The dragon's massive eyes blinked slowly, and it made a low, vibrating sound deep in its chest. The rumble was no longer frightening. It was almost like a song, a steady rhythm of acceptance. The child stayed still, letting the dragon feel safe. Around them, aliens froze in shock. They had never seen a weapon behave like this, never seen a creature designed for destruction respond to calmness instead of fear. Suddenly, the dragon lowered its head fully to the ground, resting its enormous body near the boy. Eli could feel the heat from its scales and the quiet pulse of power beneath. He smiled faintly, whispering again, "See? You're not alone. You can trust me." The dragon exhaled, smoke drifting slowly into the station's ceiling vents. It shifted slightly, nudging Eli gently with its snout. The aliens could not move. They watched, astonished, as the smallest hand in the galaxy had tamed the deadliest being without weapons, without force and without anger. The boy's bravery and care had created something no fleet or army could ever achieve: trust. Eli stood slowly, still holding the dragon's attention. The creature lifted its massive head slightly, eyes fixed on him as if asking silently, "Will you stay?" He nodded, smiling. "I will," he whispered. And in that moment, the aliens realized that humans, small and seemingly weak, were capable of things no one else could even imagine. The station was still buzzing with whispers. Aliens could not believe what they had just seen. The deadliest dragon, the creature that had destroyed fleets and terrified worlds, had not only allowed a human child to approach, but it had also responded to him with calmness. The word spread quickly through the docking bay: humans, small and fragile, had done what no army could. But Eli did not notice the whispers. He was focused entirely on the dragon. The dragon's massive head rested near the boy. Its glowing eyes followed every small movement he made. Its tail swayed slowly, brushing against the metal floor, and the heat from its scales made the air shimmer. Eli reached out with both hands and pressed them gently against the dragon's face. He felt the rough texture of the scales and the quiet strength beneath them. The dragon's heartbeat was steady, not threatening. It was as if it were listening to him in a way that no one else could. The alien scientists were studying from a distance, their instruments beeping and flashing wildly. It's responding to him," one whispered. "But how? No creature should do this." Another shook his head. "It's not weapons, it's not commands, it's his presence, his calm. The human understands something we do not." Eli knelt closer and whispered again. "You don't have to be alone anymore. No one will hurt you. You can trust me." The dragon's eyes softened. Its massive body shifted slightly, lowering even closer to the floor, making itself smaller, almost gentle in appearance. Aliens gasped. They had never seen the dragon act like this. Every battle, every encounter had been full of rage and fear. But now it was different. It was listening. Some aliens argued quietly among themselves. "It's impossible. Humans are weak. They can't influence something so powerful." "No," another said, eyes wide. "They survive because they understand what we don't. They understand trust, patience, and connection. This is why they endure." Even the commanders, hardened veterans who had commanded fleets and led wars, were forced to reconsider their assumptions. A single human child, had proven them wrong. Eli reached up and touched the dragon's eye gently. The dragon did not recoil. Its glowing gaze met his, steady and calm. The boy whispered softly, "You don't need to fight anyone. You can rest. You can be free." Smoke curled from its nostrils, but it was warm and steady, not dangerous. The dragon's body shifted again, as if relaxing for the first time in its life. Aliens around the docking bay were frozen, unsure how to respond. Many lowered their weapons slowly, afraid to interfere with what was happening. Others whispered in awe, realizing that this small human child had done what decades of study, fleets of soldiers, and advanced technology had failed to achieve. The dragon's rage had been replaced with understanding, something they had never imagined possible. Eli smiled faintly, feeling a connection he could not explain. The dragon was powerful, yes, stronger than anything in the galaxy. But it was also lonely and misunderstood. Humans, he realized, had a strength no weapon could match. They could reach into the hearts of others, calm fears, and create trust where others saw only power. And now, the dragon, the deadliest dragon, was experiencing that trust for the first time. The dragon nudged him gently with its snout. Eli placed his hand against it and whispered, "I won't leave you. You're not alone anymore." The aliens could not look away. They had believed that strength alone ruled the galaxy, but now they saw a different kind of power: empathy, courage, and understanding. The smallest being could influence the greatest, not with fear, not with weapons, but with heart. One of the scientists finally spoke aloud, voice trembling. It's empathy. Only humans have this. It's why they survive. It's why they succeed where others fail." Other aliens nodded slowly, watching the dragon lean into the boy's touch. For the first time, they realized that power was not always measured by size, weapons, or strength. It could be measured by patience, courage, and understanding. Eli gently stroked the dragon's scales and whispered again, "It's okay. You're safe now. I promise." The dragon exhaled, a long puff of smoke that drifted into the station's ceiling vents. Its eyes were calm, soft, and focused entirely on the boy. Aliens could see the change clearly. The creature that had ended wars was no longer a weapon. It was a living being capable of trust and connection. The station began to feel a strange quiet. No alarms blared. No soldiers moved. The dragon's massive body was calm. Its wings flexed slowly, and the rumble in its chest sounded almost like a heartbeat shared with the child. Eli looked up at the gathered aliens and smiled faintly. He did not need to explain anything. The dragon's trust spoke louder than words. The aliens, for the first time, understood something important. Humans could survive not because they were the strongest, but because they understood the hearts of others. They could calm the fiercest storms, bring peace where there was chaos, and inspire loyalty without weapons. The dragon had shown them all a truth the galaxy had forgotten. Strength was not enough, but compassion, courage, and trust could move even the deadliest forces in existence. Eli stood slowly, never taking his eyes off the dragon. The massive creature lifted its head slightly, smoke curling from its nostrils, eyes still fixed on him. It had chosen to trust him, and in that trust, it found something more powerful than fear. Around them, the aliens began to murmur, realizing that the human child had changed everything. For the first time in its life, the deadliest dragon of the galaxy was not feared. It was understood. And the humans, small and fragile as they seemed, had shown the galaxy a new kind of power, one that could not be fought or destroyed, only respected. The dragon lay quietly on the station floor, its massive body filling the space but moving with surprising calm. For the first time in its life it did not roar. It did not shake the walls with anger or fear. It simply breathed slowly, its glowing eyes fixed on Eli, the human child who had changed everything. Aliens all around the docking bay could hardly believe what they were witnessing. The creature that had destroyed fleets and terrified planets was no longer a weapon. It was a living being, and it had chosen trust over rage. Eli knelt beside the dragon once more, resting his hand gently on its snout. "It's okay," he whispered. "You can go wherever you want. You're safe now." The dragon exhaled, sending a soft stream of smoke curling upward. Its tail swayed slowly but not threateningly. Around them the aliens whispered, their voices low and filled with awe. No one had expected this. No one had believed it was possible. The alien commanders, once certain that humans were weak and useless, now looked at Eli with new eyes. A single child had done what entire armies could not. He had tamed the deadliest dragon in the galaxy with nothing but patience, courage, and care. Some lowered their weapons, some covered their mouths, and some simply stared, unable to comprehend the quiet miracle unfolding before them. Eli smiled faintly. He had not come here to prove anything. He had simply followed his heart, doing what felt right. And the dragon, sensing this, had responded. It nudged him gently with its snout, and the boy laughed softly, a sound full of relief and joy. Around them, aliens began to whisper again, this time not with fear, but with understanding. The scientists at the station ran new scans and watched in disbelief as the dragon's energy stabilized completely. Its aura, once dangerous and volatile, now pulsed with calm strength. They realized that the creature had never been evil, it had only been misunderstood and feared. Its actions had been guided by instinct, by training, and by the isolation it had endured. And yet, one human child had shown it kindness and in doing so, had changed it forever. The aliens began to step back, giving space to the human and the dragon. Soldiers lowered their weapons fully, still trembling but realizing they were not needed. Commanders whispered to each other, acknowledging that humans were different from anyone they had met before. Strength and weapons could win battles, yes, but only courage, empathy, and understanding could reach a being like this. Eli stood, brushing dust from his clothes, and looked up at the dragon. "You don't have to fight anymore," he said. "You can be free. You can trust us." The dragon blinked, then slowly lowered its massive head in what felt like acknowledgement. Around them, the crowd of aliens fell silent, watching the scene with awe and disbelief. The deadliest dragon in the galaxy had accepted peace, not through fear or force but through connection. Word of what had happened spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The story of a small human child who had tamed the most dangerous creature became legend. Aliens from dozens of worlds began to see humans differently. They realized that humans survived and thrived not because of size, weapons, or technology, but because they could reach the hearts of others. They could inspire loyalty, trust, and calm where others saw only fear. The dragon, still massive and glowing softly, shifted closer to Eli. He placed a hand on its forehead gently. The creature exhaled, smoke drifting lazily into the air, and the boy smiled. "You're safe," he said. "You'll never have to fight anyone again if you don't want to." The dragon rumbled softly, a sound that was almost like a sigh of relief. For the first time in its life, it had no enemies, no anger, no need to fight. The aliens around them began to murmur, realizing the truth they had long ignored. Humans were not the weakest species in the galaxy. They were not fragile. They survived because they understood what others could not: connection, empathy, and courage. And sometimes, those qualities were more powerful than any weapon, fleet, or army. Eli stepped back and looked at the gathered crowd. "You don't have to fear him," he said softly, but everyone could hear. "He's not a weapon. He's a living being. And now he can choose his own path." The dragon shifted slightly, nodding its massive head as if in agreement. The aliens understood. Fear had ruled for too long. Mercy, courage, and understanding could rule too. The deadliest dragon, once the terror of the galaxy, was now calm and free. Eli, small and unarmed, had shown the galaxy a new kind of strength. And as the crowd watched in awe, they realized something even more important. Humans, though small and fragile in appearance, could teach the galaxy lessons that no one else could. For the first time, the galaxy did not see a dragon as a weapon. It saw a creature capable of trust. It did not see a human child as weak. It saw someone who could change the course of history with nothing more than heart. And in that moment, the galaxy learned a lesson it would never forget.